guys, Axelmyth here, and today, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't picked up anything, so there won't be any pickups really, but or at all rather. But I know it's actually been a real long while since my last one, about a month again. I don't mean to make this a once a month type thing, but it's like if it's not like that, then I don't have anything interesting to talk about. So it just kind of hit me today. Well, actually, it hit me like last week. I was gonna make it like a series to kind of talk about some of the movies that inspired Star Wars and kind of maybe review them a little bit. But the ones that I have to start with, I haven't seen for like a year, and so it's like I don't remember a lot about them. I can kind of tell you the gist of the story, I guess. I'm talking about the Dollars Trilogy by Sergio Leone. And so I'm going to talk about them again. The first video I made really sucks. It didn't really talk about a lot about the movies themselves. More of like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that I'd heard. So basically like the first one, okay? The first one is about Clint Eastwood, the character that he's playing, the man with no name. He goes into this outlawed town, and he basically turns these two families against, these two families hate each other, but, he kind of turns them against each other more, and basically, he gets offered by both of them to basically shut down the other guys, you know what I mean? And it's actually a really fun film. I really like it. I'll tell you about it in a minute. The second one, I'm not gonna lie, I remember the second one the least of all. All right, and it doesn't make it a unrememberable movie. It's just I don't remember much of it for some reason. But yeah. So the second one, basically, there's this guy. I forget his name. I forget even the actor's name, and I just saw it because I was editing the other video and then I deleted it. But because it was bad, guys. Okay, it was bad. But basically, he's out to get the revenge from this one guy who I don't remember if it was his sister or his wife, but the bad guy of the movie, like, I don't want to say it, but basically raped his sister or his wife or something like that and killed her. Yeah, I know. It was pretty dark. You don't see anything. But so then he wants revenge for that, obviously. And I think it was his sister, because it had there's something to do with like these two music boxes or something. Yeah, there's like these two music boxes. The one guy had one, and then the bad guy had one. So it might have been his wife. I don't remember. But it was a good film. It's not my favorite of the three. But then the third one, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, that was my favorite by far. Basically, like, this one's actually going to take a little bit longer to tell. But basically, Clint Eastwood, and I'm just going to call him the Ugly. The Good and the Ugly are basically these two con men. Like, the Ugly is wanted in certain cities. The Good, brings him into these cities, and then, like, when they're about to hang, the Ugly, the Good, Clint Eastwood, shoots him off the rope, and it's actually a pretty neat little duo there. But they hear about this treasure that's buried somewhere. Clint Eastwood has part of the information, and then the Ugly has, I don't remember their names, I'm sorry, has the other part of the information, and they kind of need each other. So then, they go on this journey together, and then they, just some shenanigans happens. They end up at a Union camp, and basically, they get their ass beat there, literally, because this is where, like, the bad kind of shows up, or shows his face to the heroes. And yeah, Um, and then basically from then on, I don't remember much, but basically they also end up at this. I don't remember if it was Union or Confederate, but they basically end up at this base where they were protecting a bridge, and they blow up the bridge. I know it's a really rundown, and it wasn't. I guess it wasn't giant into the story. And then, they make it to like this basically this soldier, this soldier grave with like a whole bunch of different graves around, and like the unmarked one is the one where they have to start digging, and then that's where their showdown. And by the way, like I didn't even mention this in the video, and this is something I really want to talk about. I really have to say, there is nothing. Okay, you could watch all the parodies. It's been parodied a million times. It really has. But there's nothing like watching the original version of it, of the classic stare down. Like I'm serious, guys. If you just like get into the feeling, it's like, oh my god, something's about to go down here, and then it does. And then basically Clint Eastwood leaves the ugly for dead because the ugly would have done the same thing to him. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was my favorite. It actually feels the most deep out of the other two, and it's really cool. Something I was mentioning in that video was that none of them, like, they feel connected, but they feel not connected at the same time. It's like you can always find something that makes it so like they can't really take place behind or in front of one another. Because, like, I think the first one has, like, weapons before the Civil War. And then, the third one, which is supposed to be a prequel, takes place during the Civil War. You know what I mean? It's, like, that type of stuff. So that was just kind of a rundown. If I had to recommend one, okay? Like, if you're going to if I'm going to say something, watch all three. They're awesome. You can find them on Blu-ray. I have a DVD. 4 movies. The fourth one didn't really inspire Star Wars, so I wasn't going to talk about it. That one was a decent film. It wasn't nearly as good as the other ones, but whatever. But if I was going to recommend one, I would actually recommend A Fistful of Dollars. It's probably the crappiest dubbed, but it is probably the most classic of all of them. The third one to me is the best, but if I'm going to recommend one, watch the first one. Mostly because I guess it's the first. I mean, again, you can literally watch them out of order and you would understand it as a film itself, but yeah. So, the next one. (2001) A Space Odyssey. Again, I'm just going to kind of give you a rundown. Honestly, the story is kind of weird to try to explain, but basically, it's basically a movie about kind of I don't want to say just about evolution, because that doesn't make it sound like a fun movie. I mean, actually, it really isn't. But anyway, point is that it's a movie about human evolution, but basically, like, these aliens put these I forget what they're called. I think they called them monarchs or something like that. I forget what they were calling them, but basically these aliens send these giant black boxes to us, and every time we find them, we grow smarter. Yeah. And that's all I really have to say about the story. Like, but like, the thing is, like, there are two ways to look. I can see this movie in two different ways. One is as a film itself, and one that's connected to the book. The film itself, literally, when I look at it in just the film and ignore the book, okay? Ignoring the book, the first 15 minutes of the film take place in, like, primal era where we're monkeys. Where the people are monkeys. Like, and that just feels so far off from the sci-fi that takes place most of the movie. So, when you look at it like that, it really just doesn't make sense. And then, Going from the second part to Hal, the third part, um, like that makes sense, and then even going from the third part to the fourth part, which is where he actually gets to Jupiter. Again, like if you have that in the film, that is a coherent but boring film. Having that first part just as a film, okay, ignore the book, just as a film, it kind of makes it a little. It's like adding something that's just so detached from the rest of it. And then there is looking at it with the book. This movie, I'll say this movie is very bad at conveying what the book is trying to tell you. And I don't, it's sad to say, but it just is. I think a sort of narration at the beginning and at the end of what was going on and why this is important to the movie. Even if you kind of make it vague, that would help 2001 a lot. And Space Baby, what the heck? I watched a few things about it and I understand it now, but if I'm gonna recommend something, I'd say read the book and then watch the movie. The dollars one, you can kind of laze off and watch one and understand the influence it might have had on Star Wars, but 2001, I think the only real inspiration from this movie for Star Wars is the effects, and I'll get to that in a minute. But basically, with this movie, you cannot laze off and just watch the movie. You're going to have to read the book to understand it. I promise you. I do a crappy job of explaining it. So you're going to have to do absolute research on that. As I started just a second ago, the effects. Okay, Star Wars, the original, is my favorite film of all time. Okay, 100%. Nothing above it. Maybe. Great if that movie has some great special effects. Alright, some amazing special effects. But somehow this movie from 10 years earlier, I'm telling you guys, if you're going to watch this movie, watch it for the effects that they were able to do without computers. It was, a lot of these effects blew me away. You know what I mean? I'd say that, they outlast Star Wars, basically. You know what I mean? That's how great these effects are. They outlast Star Wars. Alright. And I don't know if these really have much influence on Star Wars, but I thought they were interesting to talk about. I watched the 2 first films of this John Wayne collection of 15 movies. Yes, I was planning on watching all of them. I like old films, so I figured why not. Blue Steel. Like I said, I heard that some John Wayne movies had an influence on Star Wars, but I don't know which ones. I think, honestly, it's just, kind of all of them do at some point, you know what I mean? So, Blue Steel is the first one I watched. I'm going to talk about the good things and the bad things, okay? The good things. I really like the story. It's about, basically this undercover government agent, cowboy, comes into town, and they, some of the townsfolk even actually think that, he robbed the bank, but it was actually these other people. And then, basically the movie plays out, and it turns out that, I think it was the mayor of the town is actually the mayor of the town actually paid these other guys to go rob this bank from it was actually a hotel. This hotel had a safe, and they basically stole money from a hotel. This is kind of weird. So I really liked the story. I'd say the acting was a little, it's 1930s acting. There's not much I can really say about there. So something I didn't like was that this is honest, I want to call it the love story, but there's nothing there to call it a love story. Basically, you know, there's like in both movies I saw, there's like this girl who just kind of was there. This, I'm trying to think of where this one comes in. This is how much she actually had to do with the story. Basically, she could testify that it wasn't him. Yeah, she could testify that it wasn't, you know, him. And like the sheriff of the town thinks that he's a robber, which I'll talk about that in a second too. And then like and then that's like all she shows up. She can test, you know, she's there. He does save her. John Wayne's character, I forget the name, but he does save her. He and the sheriff, and then she's there to testify that he didn't steal from the hotel. That's all she has to do with this movie until the very end, where hey, he's an undercover government agent, and then he asked her to come with her, which was like, okay, whatever. And he's like, and then it's like basically where you'll be the, you know, next Mrs. whatever his name was. I was like, really? You like, there was no chemistry there. It just kind of came out of nowhere. He did save her. He did save her town, but she had nothing to do with him, basically throughout this entire movie. Another thing that I thought was weird about Blue Steel was that there was one scene where where John Wayne and the sheriff of the town were having like this, you know, a cup of tea or something like that. Maybe, well, they said a drink, so I'm gonna assume it was alcohol. Actually, come think about it. But then John Wayne turns around to like do something, and the sheriff is gonna shoot him. And then, which, you know, the sheriff thinks that he's the one who stole from the bank. But then basically, you know, he's stopped by something. I think there was like a knock at the door that stopped him or scared him. So he's like, what? Or something. I don't know. Maybe, I don't remember. I watched this like two days ago or something like that. Maybe 3. I think I watched it on Friday, and it is now Monday. So, but basically, I think John Wayne even turns around and like points his gun at him, and then there's like this knock on the door that just kind of stops him, and then it's never brought up again. The sheriff literally just follows John Wayne, doesn't question him, and then at the very end he's like, well, I thought you stole from the bank. And he's like, no, I'm a government agent. You must have saw me when I was checking to see if they actually did it. You know what I mean? And I just felt like that if that was going to have like nothing to do with the story, then that, you know, when it is explained, it should have been part like earlier in the movie, probably even the same scene when they're pointing guns at each other. You know what I mean? And then the other one, give me a second. Give me a second here. I forget what the other one's called. Just come out. I think it's called Lawless Range. I actually like the first one's story better, but I liked this film more. Because like my complaint with the love story, it's still kind of there, but it's not nearly as bad because like maybe I should start off with the story first, but basically you know, this guy's, you know, John Wayne's dad's friend disappears, and then like he goes to like the next town over or something like that, or, you know, into town or something like that, and he gets into like this kind of ruffle with this you know, kind of street gang type thing, and then the sheriff of that particular town pulls him to the side, is like, hey, you know, this guy has disappeared, you know, I could use you, you know, this guy, you know, disappeared, you know, and he was like, oh, hey, I know that guy, I could, you know, I could find him for you, and, you know, if I was going to do it, I might as well do it for money, right? That is literally a line in the movie. It's not said like that, but it's still a line in the movie. It's like, way to get the ball rolling. But basically on his way, there's this like posse that starts shooting at him a little bit, and then that's when he meets the girl, and she's basically there to give John Wayne a gun first off, And then second off, to basically do what the lady did in the first movie, and that was to testify that he is not the bad guy. And then I will at least say that her giving John Wayne a gun and their little interaction there, it did do more for them two than literally the first movie, where she was not where she was there for like the first for like 5 minutes, and then oh hey, we're gonna get married. But basically this posse is trying to steal like this cattle, and they try to recruit John Wayne, but John Wayne is kind of an undercover sheriff type person now, and they don't like that. So then they throw him in this like they're in this cave. That's where their base is, and then they throw him in like this door in the I don't know. They kind of decked this cave out to kind of make it like a base / house. So they throw him in this door. Oh hey, that's where this guy is, and then basically they stop the bad guys, and it turns out that the bad guy, the main bad guy is actually the banker, because there's like a I don't want to say gold mine, but you know what I mean. There's like a bunch of gold that's actually under under the land of these ranches and all, and the banker wants a piece of that. So he's trying to like evict everybody basically to get all of this gold for himself. So yeah. So that was that one. I like that movie more, but I like Blue Steel's story better. You know what I mean? Yeah. So everyone's safe at the end of Lawless Range. So that's it for the movies. I do want to give a quick update for a few things that I talked about last time. Well, I just had the 3DS story. I meant more of the pickups. Yu Yu Hakusho Season 3. I was able to watch most of the first disc. The last episode and a half will not play, because it's got this small... I'd show you, but I can barely see this scratch. It has a scratch just enough so that it won't play the last episode and a half. And I've tried different players, so I'm gonna have to drop money on a DVD buffer, I don't know, to fix this DVD, and I think that's dumb. Oh yeah, I think I do have a pickup actually. I do have one pickup. I forgot about it. I got Shakugan no Shana Season 3, and for the first 2 seasons, I've had the, it's come with the Blu-rays and DVDs. For some reason, this one only comes with the Blu-rays, which is kind of weird to me, but it's whatever. So yeah, Shakugan no Shana Season 3. And then me and my wife are into Season 4 of Dragon Ball Super. We are at this point we are at least half a disc through it. There's only like 2 discs in each season, but so yeah, we're at least half a disc into Season 4. Season 3 was pretty good. I think a lot of that tournament didn't have a lot of weight to it, but it's whatever. And then the last thing I want to talk about, okay? I've been playing this game for like, I want to say 2 months, but I checked the time. It only took me like 20 hours to actually beat it. And that is Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. I finally beat it. There's nothing, like, I didn't find much wrong with the game. It's just, I don't know. I think I was just getting a little tired of gaming or something, because that's why I started watching these. I don't think it's bad. And like I've heard people call it underdeveloped, and I can definitely kind of see that. The game is actually a lot funnier than the first one. I'll give it that. the second, like, Partners in Time made me crack up a few times. It definitely handled its Luigi humor a lot better too. The first one, it was more of, calling him Green Mario and all this stuff. This one, it literally just treats him like a loser sometimes, and sometimes you just feel bad, but sometimes it just makes you laugh. And I really appreciate that in a game. I think my oldest brother did point this out to me. I kind of thought they did this on purpose, but maybe not. But my oldest brother did mention that, like, you could basically kill every boss with the bros items, and I can definitely see that. Basically, there are these items in the game that you get, and it takes Mario and Luigi. It could be kicking a Koopa shell to an enemy back and forth, or jumping on enemies while being chased by Chain Chomp. You can, or being shot out of a cannon and stomping an enemy with all 4 characters, which does a lot of damage. And like I can definitely see that. I definitely did get enough of those items to actually do that. It just takes a good amount of timing to actually pull that off well, because like I know I could pull off the cannon almost every time, but like the Koopa shells, it'd always be a gamble of whether or not my reaction time would be spot on or not. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't think it's better than the first, especially graphically. Granted, I played the 3DS version of the first game, and this is still the DS version of Partners in Time. So obviously it's not going to be as graphically capable, because the first one was in fact more or less a remaster, and this one's just playing it regularly. Basically, it's like taking Crash Bandicoot and Crash Bandicoot 2 to the first Crash Bandicoot on the PS4 and saying, "Oh, that doesn't look good." You know what I mean? It's not comparable really, but so yeah, that's what I've been kind of doing for the last month. Just been trying to get through these shows. Trying to get through some of these games. I did leave. I don't think I've really mentioned this, but I did leave 2 consoles out. There's a game I've been planning to review. I'm just trying to get through it, trying to collect enough footage for it. And unfortunately, like, there's actually some footage that I've lost, so if I want to talk about it, I cannot. And that's just because, like, I don't know what it is, but, like, there's been a once or twice where the game has just cut off my capture card, I swear, where it will just, like, black out the screen, and then all of a sudden I'm not recording, my capture card's not recording anymore, but the game's still going. And that, or there's been, like, a time where, like, I don't think my capture card was really ready to be, not my capture card, my SD card was not ready to be pulled out of the capture card, but I pulled it out without really thinking about it, without really thinking about leaving it there for like 2 seconds. So then I've lost the footage that way, and it's just, I'm such an idiot. I really should think about that, but I have a lot of footage, so I might just go ahead and do with it. I might just, quit recording it. The problem is that it's like my first playthrough of the game, so plus, if I wanted to show some of the later stage stuff, I could do that, and I didn't have to look up pictures, you know what I mean? Because I don't know if you've noticed, but literally my last 2 reviews, I've cheated on the footage part, and, I can't really run a YouTube channel like that. I recognize that. So, I'm just trying to get through that game, man. And it's definitely taken me a long time, but I think I'm almost done. I'd have to look again, but I think I'm almost done. But and then I also left out the game Super Mario 3D World, so I could continue Let's playing it. And kind of an update to that is that I was trying to get my oldest brother to come over and record it, but scheduling has been kind of off, and when he's been over, he hasn't exactly felt like it, and I don't blame him for that. But he was just like, go ahead and do it, and you know, so I was just like, you know, all right, if that's all right with you. So I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a call to action here. I would like some ideas, definitely. I can't keep doing Ultra Sabers videos. I just can't. I cannot financially handle the Ultra Sabers back there. With that said, I still do have another Saber coming. I'd love to show it off, but it's not here yet, and I don't think it actually will be until September. In fact, I think come September I'll have a few more pickups, and along with I think I'll also have a few new pickups, because I think the limited run games, I said it wrong last time, will finally be here by then. And if they're not, I might just contact them and ask, because I cannot find on their website at all when these things are going to be done. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please comment below some ideas for videos I could make. Give me game reviews even. I'll see if I can play through them, and if nothing else, you know, I'll talk about them in like one of these vlogs or something. You know what I mean? I'd love that. So I guess that's it, guys. I'll see you later.